All right. How you doing, folks? Ron Raymond here of the Raymond Report, along with Ross Benjamin of Ross Benjamin Sports. Good morning, Ross. How you doing, buddy?
Everything is good, Ron. It's a Friday. Not that that means anything, but, it means a lot to a lot of people because they've been working all week. We work 7 days a week when seasons are going on like now. So I hope you have a good weekend coming up, Ron. I went 1-0 last night, just one pick. I had the Arizona Diamondbacks, minus 106. And, Ron, it's good to win a game like that once in a while. They were down 4-3 going into the bottom of the ninth, and they scored 2 runs. And once again, Houston's bullpen was exposed for a second straight night.
Yeah, no, Houston right now is they're living off a bit of the reputation of fool's gold type thing. Let's be honest. That team went through a lot in the offseason with a lot of controversy. And eventually that – I don't know if it's playing a toll right now, but the team confidence – Altuve's still hitting well, but they're just not the same type of Houston team that we're used to seeing. But it's early.
Yeah.
But like you always say, it's early late, right?
Yeah, it's getting late early or whatever that saying is the yogi uses.
Yeah.
They're pitching too. I mean, they lost Garrett Cole, who won 19 games, I think, a season ago, or 20 games even. And Verlander's on the shelf right now. So, in their bullpen, I mean, we were talking about this before we came on air. Again, I mentioned, Ron, on the show last week or so, that one of the things that you should evaluate, meaning the listeners and viewers, is WHIP, and put a lot more emphasis on that rather than ERA, Ron, because sometimes ERA can be very misleading. For example, the Houston bullpen, going into the game, today is Friday, going into their Wednesday night game at Arizona, their bullpen had an ERA of less than 3, Ron, but their WHIP was hovering around 150.
Wow.
And for those of you who don't know what WHIP means, it's walks and plus hits divided by innings pitched. And anything 150 or above is shaky or bad, okay? And so when I see a low ERA like that in a WHIP of 150 or more, that tells me that either a starting pitcher or a bullpen is getting in a lot of jams and wiggling out of them.
Yeah.
And eventually that's not going to continue. If they keep flirting with disaster will happen. And that's what we saw the last 2 nights with the Houston bullpen.
Yeah, living on borrowed time, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly that's a great tip here for the listeners to look when they're handicapping. And again, Ross, with this show, when we first set out to do this show, this is the type of information that we were hoping that will resonate with the audience, that we're trying to share what we do, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully we could, at the end of the day, help people make money. And again, folks, if you're interested in the Rain Report, you can get it each and every day right here at atsstats.com. And Ross, where can people get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me at my website, which is rbwins.com or rossbenjaminsports.com, either URL, whatever you prefer. That'll take you to the same landing page. And right now, you're going to be able to get my picks at atsstats.com every day going forward. But right now, Ron's offering a 20% off special still, right, Ron? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So if you want to get my picks, I would recommend, if you want to save a little bit of money, go to Ron's site and you'll get my picks a little bit cheaper. So
put in promo code ATS20, that's capital ATS 20, and get 20% off any of our membership packages. Now, each and every day, Ross, we do these podcasts. We talk about the current market conditions, and I'm on top of my game here today, Ross. I got to share the screen.
I didn't. Boy, sharp. The coffee was good this morning.
The coffee was good. I didn't need the pitching coach to come to the mound in the 6th inning to give me the pep talk. Get your shit together.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah. So looking at the current conditions here, Ross, you know what? We're still in the bull market. Like, looking at the favorites here, and you mentioned off air some of the stats of minus 106 to 150. Like, we're still killing it with small favorites, right?
Yeah, they were 4-2 last night, and they won somewhere around $1.45 on a dollar. So That's pretty darn good. And if you look at them for the year, Ron, they're over 62%. That's money line favorites of -106 to -150. We're 2 weeks into the season, Ron. You know, that's got to turn sooner or later.
Well, you would think, right? And
Yeah.
I know it's a shortened season, and COVID-19 is playing. It's the wild card these days. You wake up and you're just like, okay, what's the
Yeah,
asterisk today,
exactly.
right? But no, you're right. And this is where when you bet into professional sports, these guys are pros. There's no way this can continue forever. But enjoy the ride.
Yeah,
That's all I got
exactly.
to say. Enjoy the ride, because if you look at the averages here, 1, 2, 3, 4. 11-1 the last 12, favoring the favorites. And yesterday, a bit of an over day, 6-4-1. And we talked about this, Ross. We said,
Yeah,
pay
you said
attention
it
to the
was going to
over.
turn. You watch for
Yeah,
the overs today, and it
yeah.
did.
And sure enough, this is where maybe it's the start of something going over the total. Because on the 7-day average, the overs hit only the 42.1%. The under hit 58, but it turned a bit yesterday. So maybe this is where we look back and we say, okay, that's August 6th is when things start going over again. All right, Ross, we're going to hit it right into the MLB forecast. And again, folks, if you're interested in the rain report, you can get it each and every day. We have a free rain report. All you got to do is visit our website, atsstats.com, go to MLB, free rain report, and you can get all the bells and whistles of all the reports. Now, we're going to kick it off with a team that I don't know if this went extra innings last night, but I know they won this game 8-7. I was watching that one in the White Sox, and I couldn't see on the screen if it was extra innings or not. But
Actually, Baltimore lost the game 8-7. Oh,
okay,
you're
that's right.
talking about Baltimore lost 8-7 to
Yeah,
Miami,
that's right. And
and it did not go extra innings. No.
okay, so just a long game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So Baltimore tonight is a road underdog. Nationals a 167 favorite. Over under set at let me see here 9. ATS forecast going to lean with the Nats here 4.87, 4.58, and the over under 9.45. After Tampa Bay against they swept Tampa Bay last weekend, wheels are falling off here, and this is the make of a team of a program or a franchise that they don't know how to handle a bit of success, right? You
Yeah.
have a great sweep against a division opponent, and then you go on the road and then you just poop the bed, or you continue not on the road, but you just continue to give things up, and you're 5-7 on the year. And Washington 4-5 on the year for defending champions, but 2-7-0 to the under.
Yeah, Baltimore actually played all 4 of those games at Camden Yards because of the situation in Miami. So they lost 4 straight against Miami. The last 2, they didn't get the last at bat because it was technically a Miami home game, but it was played at Camden Yards. Yeah, I mean, this is a game I'm going to stay away from, Ron. I'm not crazy about Anibal Sanchez. He doesn't have a good career record against the Orioles. And Baltimore's bullpen, or Washington's bullpen, lights out right now. I will say that 1.53 ERA on the year, but Washington's still not hitting with any consistency, Ron.
New York Yankees taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Now the Rays here listed as a -106 price. The over/under at 8.5. We talked about this yesterday, Ross, about the Yankees. The Hugo Boss analogy. You might get that Hugo Boss at a discount today because looking at the price here, you're getting a good price on the Yankees. But the computer, like in New York, 4.68, 4.61. Blake Snell going to get the call here today for Tampa up against Masahiro Tanaka for the Yankees.
Yeah, ordinarily I would say this is a great pitching matchup, but both of these guys in their first 2 starts of the year have been shaky. I will say this, though. Tanaka made 4 starts against Tampa Bay last year, basically the same lineup, and he posted a 1.59 ERA in those 4 starts. So he's had a pretty good recent history against Tampa Bay. Actually, over his career, he's pitched well against Tampa Bay. Blake Snell has pitched very well, too, in his 5 career home starts against the Yankees. His ERA is below 3 in those outings.
Yeah, Tampa Bay right now, their bats are really cold. Like they couldn't get nothing going in the Boston. Like it's always go back to the old adage, right? You always remember the bad beats. And I had the overs in 2 of those games against Boston. And man, maybe I was thinking that I should have took the over if the game was at Fenway, but at Tropicana Field, Tampa Bay, MIA. There pretty soon we're going to start seeing their batters on a milk carton because
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the last 7 games. They lost 6 of 7. I think they lost 5 in a row, right, Ron? If I'm not mistaken.
no, they let me check here. I'm looking at so they lost 5-0, and then they won 5-1 against the Red Sox.
Okay.
Was
So
that a
they
win?
have lost 6 of 7, though. I know
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
Okay,
And
and during that 7-game span, going in according to what you're saying and verifying what you're saying, I should say, they've only averaged 2.6 runs per game. Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
hard to win like that, Ron.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I'm just double checking to make sure that Ross, like I told you this morning, ATS stats right now. Since we're still trying to get our stats and computer because once the COVID hit, we had to disconnect a lot of our information and since the break and all these COVID and delayed games. I tell you, when you run a website, man, I don't know
Yeah.
how some of these bigger companies do it.
Well, they have multiple people working for them.
Yeah, yeah. Hang
You
on,
know,
let me
they
put
have
up.
one guy handling the headache that you're now looking at right now. See how your look on the screen right now? There's one
Yeah,
guy who's actually hired to do that.
yeah.
We
So,
don't have that benefit.
and I want to give credit to our programmer. We do have that right. They did win 5-1. So, I just want our information to be reliable when we give it out here.
It's okay. You know, you
Yeah,
could always call on the pitching coach, like you said.
yeah, yeah. It reminds me of a great story of listening. I forget who it was. It was you might have heard this story where the pitcher is just he's getting lit up and the manager comes out to the ball and then the pitcher's yelling at him, "Get back in the dugout! I'm not ready to come out." And he comes up and he tells him, "No, don't worry, you're staying in. I'm just giving the kid the break in the back so he can reload the fireworks." So he can.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. I
That's
forget
pretty
which
good.
picture, but I always remember that one, and it was just a great story.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you know what? The under 3-0 in the last 3 games for Tampa Bay, and 2-0 for the Yankees. You know what? Yankees are gonna come here in a nasty mood, losing to Philadelphia. I don't think I don't know if they won that series. I know Philly won the first.
No, it was a split 2-2.
Okay, yeah, I know they got spanked there in the first one. There's a doubleheader.
Yeah.
But it's the Yankees, man.
Yeah.
9-3. I think if you like the Yankees here, if it looks too good to be true, right, Ross?
Yeah, no, especially at that price. I'm a little leery there, but I mean, I should be chomping at the bit, right? See, it's tough for me. I'm a lifelong Yankee fan, right, Ron?
Yeah.
So this is where I got to separate my emotion from my professionalism. And a lot of times, the Yankees, the Bills, I'll stay away from them games because I have to ask myself, am I playing with my heart or my mind? And then who the heck, if you're a lifelong avid fan, it's very difficult to go against your own team, right?
Yeah,
So
no, I get that.
I stay away from games like that. It's like you going against the Ottawa Senators, for crying out loud.
That's pretty easy these days.
Yeah, I know that, but still, it's difficult to do. That's all I could say.
Yeah, Atlanta Braves taking on the Phillies. Now looking at the price here, looks like Atlanta here minus 110 or 112 all over the place. Coming off win yesterday, was it Mustakis or one of the big home run in the bottom of the 9th inning, 4-3 win over the Toronto Blue Jays, and big win for Atlanta yesterday, 5.15, 3.98, and the over/under at 9.13. Vince Velasquez going for the Phillies today against Kyle Wright of the Atlanta Braves, and when Kyle Wright goes for the Atlanta Braves this year, Ross, the under perfect 3-0 so far.
Yeah, and I would be careful with that because 2 starts this year, a 7.50 ERA and a monster 2.67 WHIP. And then Vince Velasquez, 1 start this year, he was terrible. And 7 starts against Atlanta since 2018, Ron. In those 7 starts, a 7.57 ERA and 5 of the 7 went over the total. So, based on what you're saying, conflicting information might be a good one to stay away.
Yeah, no, I agree. Home teams coming off an AL East division opponent, 14-7 straight up this year. So, if you're into system trends, it does favor a bit of the Phillies here. Detroit taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now the Pirates a minus 106 price, over 8.5 is the over/under. Forecast going with the Bucks here, 3.7, 3.57. Man, This would be a hard game to sell tickets to.
Yeah,
3-10 against
it's your
5-5.
hold your nose game of the week. So
Yeah,
two teams that stink, two teams that can't hit. I mean, it's almost jumped out at the screen when Detroit is a favorite on the road, right, Ron?
oh
You
yeah,
know, it's sort of like the lesser of two evils here. Matt Boyd, 2 starts this year, hasn't looked good, Ron. 7.20 ERA and a 170 WHIP. 3 career versus Pittsburgh, all since 2017. A 7.36 ERA. And Chad Kuhl making his first start of the season. Kuhl, 3 career starts, all since 2017 against Detroit, and a 5.07 ERA. So not yeah, they're 2 terrible hitting teams, but you might catch a break here with this starting pitching matchup and 2 bullpens that leave a lot to be desired. You might want to take a look at the over here. I'm going to have to take a little a closer glance after we get off the air.
yeah. So far this season, Ross, totals 8. Road teams the over 16-8 on the year. So that total. And the good thing with an 8, 5-3 gets your money back, right?
Yep.
Miami taking on the Mets. Now, I thought this line was still no line. There's a default line here. That line's not right. But according to our computer, we got Marlins 4.92, 4.22, over under at 9.14. That once we get our real lines, this could change.
Yeah,
So
let's see. Let me share. See if I can get something up here for us.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Let me see. No line still, Ron.
Yeah. So Sandy Alcantara going against Michael Waka here of the Mets. And, this is, you know what? On paper, 6-1 Marlins, 5-8 New York. New York needs to start turning it around. A lot of power in New York. It's just really disappointing that they're 5-8 right now.
Yeah. And then Cespedes decides he doesn't want to play anymore because of the COVID-19. That certainly didn't help. As it is, he hasn't been healthy for the last few years, and now when he is healthy, he opts out. Can't fault the guy. I mean, you got to respect his wishes in that regard.
Yeah.
The Mets right now coming off a 3-1 win over Washington in the last game. They beat Max Scherzer, which was sort of surprising. They had yesterday off. However, 1-3 after a win this year, Ron. And here's the thing for us. The Mets off back-to-back unders this year have gone over the total 3 straight times. So 3-0 over this year off back-to-back unders for the Mets. And those 3 games averaged 13.7 runs per game.
Yeah, and you know what? We're in an overs market right now, which, there's the unders coming in. So we're in, if you do like the over, now's the time to probably start looking at it. Toronto Blue Jays, now there was no line this morning, but I'm seeing some Weber minus 110, 112.
Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, minus 107, 109 at bookmaker.
All right, so where are we here? Toronto, Boston. All they have is a total up right now, which opened actually at 10.5 or 11. It's down to 10.5. I would check the weather in that game too, see which way the wind's blowing. Another factor you should really keep an eye on when you're looking at totals, right, Ron?
Yeah, for sure, especially at Fenway. Tanner Roark going for Toronto up against Ryan Weber. 4-8 Boston, 4-6 for the Blue Jays. Just with the doctor order for both teams to play a beatable team, right? C neutral in the rain report. 64% chance of going over the total today at Fenway. Minnesota taking on Kansas City. Now, Minnesota looking for the sweep yesterday, but it wasn't going to happen. Pittsburgh 6-5. Now today you got Jacob Junis going for the Royals, and Devin Smelter for Minnesota. Twins taking advantage of a weak division, 10-3 on the year, up against 4-10 the Royals. 69% chance of winning for Kansas City today, Ross. This one here, Minnesota on paper should have this one.
Well, Kansas City off a 13-2 win versus the Cubs yesterday, Ron, and since last year, the Royals have gone 1-14 after scoring 8 runs or more in their previous game. So,
wow.
Yeah. So when you see an offensive explosion from this team, they don't do very well the next game since the beginning of last year. So that's a pretty decent sample size too, Ron.
Yeah, no, for sure. And coming off a night game, 1-4. coming off a game that went over it 0-2. So yeah,
Yeah.
not
And
hopefully.
I'm sorry, Ron.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm done.
All right. Smeltzer, the pitcher for Minnesota today. He did start once against Kansas City last year. 6 innings pitched, no earned runs allowed on only 2 hits. And Minnesota is 37-12 on the road since the beginning of last year against losing teams.
37-12.
Yep.
Yeah. So they,
One of the losses happened yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So they beat the Beatables, right?
Yes, they do on the road.
Yeah.
They're actually been a better road team the last 2 years than a home team, believe it or not.
And if you do like a total here, Ross, I got an angle. The over is 10-2 for the Royals as a 120-140 home dog coming off a game that went over the total the last 5 years. Yeah, maybe 46% chance though of the Kogo. Cleveland taking on the White Sox. Now White Sox was one of my picks last night. They Milwaukee, the bats finally started hitting for them. They won 8-3 up against Cleveland, who were coming off a 13-0 win over the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a 3-0 game, Ron, going into the bottom of the 7th.
Wow.
And the Indians, who have struggled to score runs all season long, had a 10-run 7th inning.
Well, what's their whip? Maybe that's eh? Yeah, no, it's true, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So minus 110 price on Cleveland. Again, this price scares me a bit because it's almost like too good to be true on a team that's 3-0 on a 3-game win streak up against a team that's on a 2-game losing streak, 7-6, 8-6 for the Tribe. 53% chance of going over the total today. Aaron Savali taking the ball here for Cleveland up against Dylan Cease of the White Sox.
Yeah, I give the pitching matchup here to Cleveland. Savali over Cease. 2 starts this year for Cease, a 6.48 ERA. Also, Ron, the White Sox 6-2 on the road this year, but just 1-4 at home. So,
oh wow, the White Sox.
How about the Cleveland bullpen? I talk about unbelievable. The last 7 games, they have not allowed an earned run. On the year, they have a 1.34 ERA, a 0.77 WHIP, and have not allowed a home run all season long.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean,
hey, if
they ever start hitting, look, Cleveland's 8-6, and they're averaging, I think, just a shade over 3 runs per game, and that was with a 13-run output yesterday. So if they ever start, if what they did last night in the 7th inning continues, this is going to be an awfully tough team to beat.
Yeah, and that makes me feel good knowing if you're betting the under and you got that bullpen coming in, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Oh yeah. Cincinnati
taking on the Brew Crew. Now Milwaukee, it looks like they're a dog in this spot here today. A low price on Milwaukee. I'm seeing 118, 115 for Cincinnati. We're sending controversial pitcher Trevor Bauer to the mound up against Eric Lauer of the Brew Crew. And the over-under set at 8. Now Chicago, again, Milwaukee coming off an 8-3 win last night in Chicago. They'll take the red eye back home, and they're going to face Bauer today. And Cincinnati, 5-8 on the year, up against 5-5 for Milwaukee. Maybe that's the turning point. They're on a 2-game win streak. Last 2 games have gone over the total. Normally, they tend to play well at home, but they got to face Trevor Bauer here today. But you know what? The Reds are only 1-2 in his starts this year.
Yeah, I'm going to have a free pick on this game at the end of the show.
Okay, perfect. All right, Chicago White Sox. Let's go to the White Sox and let's go to the Cubbies. Now, Chicago 10-3 on the year up against St. Louis, who haven't played a lot of games right now, only 2-3. Daniel Ponce de Leon.
Here's your man, right?
Here's my man. I feel like I should wear a beret and have like one of those long things smoking, like the Pink Panther,
Yeah.
Ponce de Leon. John Lester for the Chicago Cubs. Now the Cubbies are 2-0 in Lester starts this year, and looking at the forecast here, sees a low-scoring game. Like the over/under is 8.5. We have it at 4.04, 2.9. The over/under is 6.94. Likes it to go under the total, but the Kogo at 61%. Last 3 games for the Cards have gone under the total. And looking at some of the stats here, Ross, for the St. Louis Cardinals, nothing really to write home about except for that. Coming off a 3-game losing streak, 62-28 since '96. So that's a pretty good percentage here.
Yeah, it certainly is. And then you got the Cubs coming off that. Raise your hand if you saw that coming yesterday. The Cubs getting blown out by Kansas City. And I'll put it down because you're an absolute liar. So, but John Lester should give the Cubs an advantage here, coming off that brutal loss yesterday, which ended, I believe, a 6-game win streak, if I'm not mistaken, Ron.
Yeah.
So I would have a shade of a lean toward the Cubs at this particular moment in time.
Well, if this was July, I'd be 100% behind you. But now we're in August. The Cardinals 22-4 straight up as a home team, playing the month of August last 2 years.
Wow.
So
that's since last year, actually. Yeah. So that shade might have got dimmer.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you're still taking. LA Angels taking on the Texas Rangers. Now the Angels minus 159 price, over under set at 9.5. Forecast going to lean with the Angels here at 4.34. Finally, Texas not getting the win here, but they're not on the road. 3.84 over under at 9.5. Now, Texas this year, lost the last 3. I'd like to see. I know prior to that road trip, they weren't hitting a lot at Texas. I think I'd have to see the run average at home. Maybe a total is something I'm looking at here. 8.18 is the accumulated over under. Papa Trout making his way to Texas now, and just got to get that one in there. I still think that's an awesome one.
That's Ron's fishing buddy, by the way, folks.
Yeah, if I ever own a racehorse, that's what he's going to be called, Papa Trout. Win the Kentucky Derby. And then, the last 2 games have gone over the total for the Texas Rangers. 3-8, 5-8 for the Halos. But Griffin Canning going here today for the Los Angeles Angels against Jordan Lyles.
Yeah, Texas hasn't hit all year round for the most part, so it's not even a matter of home and away. I think you're going to find pretty consistent between the two. They haven't produced a lot of offense, and the Angels' bat's finally starting to wake up of late. I would give a slight edge toward the Angels here in a pitching matchup. I think is fairly even, so I'll have to take a closer look at this going forward.
So I got some stats for you here, Ross, because that's what we do here at ATS Stats. We pull a rabbit out of the hat. 2.6 average at home this season, 3.2 defensive average, so 5.8 in total combined. So
and that's at home, you said, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
It just shows you the difference in the new ballpark. I mean, a lot has to do with Texas just not hitting. But the old stadium, remember, Ron, you look for every reason to use the over. The ball traveled there well. It was a hitters-friendly ballpark, and this new facility is the polar opposite, it seems.
Yeah, they're probably saying, that's the front door's still open over there in Arlington. I think I want to go back.
Yeah, let's go play across the street till we get things together.
Hey, be careful what you wish for. Mike Trout's on the other end of that game. Houston taking on the Oakland Athletics. Now, the Oakland minus 124, over under set 8.5. ATS forecast, computer pick. Going to lean with the Athletics here. 4.39, 3.45. The over under at 7.84. Chris Bassett going for the A's up against Zach Greinke today. Now, Houston 0-3 and Greinke starts. Greinke must be going, hey, where's my boys?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's Garrett?
He's coming off a good outing, if I'm not mistaken. But his first start of the year, I know, was shaky. Look, this is a Chris Bassett's not a bad pitcher either for Oakland. I mean, he doesn't have the resume that Zach Greinke has, obviously. But, Oakland ran quietly, that small market team. They keep plugging along. Won again yesterday.
Moneyball. That's all I think of when I think of Oakland.
No doubt.
That small market team that just, that little engine that couldn't just keep going.
They just find those players, those middle of the road players that are affordable within what they could afford to pay, and it works.
Yeah, and what, Oakland on a 6-game winning streak right now, and since '96, when they're on a 6-game winning streak, they're 16-7 in their next game. So wow. Pretty good stat right there. 9-4 in a year. Again, Chapman's my guy. If I'm playing fantasy, I'll make sure he's in my lineup all the time because he's a stud. He's just a complete stud. Kogel, 30% chance today between going over the total, which might be a total I might be looking at. 7.84 is the accumulated. and have to look at some of the averages for Oakland at home. I know they're coming off a series where they're playing Texas, and I think the last two went over the total. So percentage play might be one you look at here.
Yeah, and the other part of the equation too, Ron, is what I mentioned earlier. Houston's bullpen has really failed them miserably in those last two games against Arizona. So keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, Arizona team that bailed you out in the ninth inning last night.
Oh, no kidding. I'll take it. Once in a while you got to win one of those types.
Hey, beggars can't be choosers, right? We'll take it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A win is a win is a win, Ron.
Hey, I woke up this morning, Ross, looked at the paper, and it said 5-4. I didn't see how it got there, but it said 5-4, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah. Yep.
San Diego minus 120 price, over-under set at 8. Forecast leaning with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Going for 3 in a row here. You got Luke Weaver going here today for Arizona up against Joey Lucchesi, and I'm going to have a free play on this play, Ross, at the end of the show.
Okay, so we'll take it. We'll listen to what you have to say at the end of the show, and we'll speak further on that game.
All righty. San Fran taking the Dodgers. Now we got the Dodgers minus 250. The price here is a little steep. Over-under set at 9. ATS forecast, computer pick. Going to lean with LA here. 5.62, 3.740. The over-under 9.36. Julio Urias going for the Dodgers up against Jeff Samardzija of San Fran. The last 4 games for the Giants have gone under the total. Dodgers on a 2-game win streak, 9-4 in a year. 65% chance of going over the total. But you know what? Hard to go against the Dodgers here. But Giants, I don't know, you got that interstate conference rivalry here. Maybe something plays into that role today.
Yeah, I mean, other than their last game, the Giants have been on a little bit of a run where they scored 5 runs or more, I believe, in 6 straight games. So if anything, obviously I'm going to take a look at the total in this game because there's no way I'm taking San Fran against LA, and I'm not going to lay 250 or even this is probably, if I'm not mistaken, minus 1.5 and like minus 130 on the run line for the Dodgers, which is no value whatsoever. And again, you got that rivalry, right, Ron? I mean, these teams met in LA to start the season, as I recall, if I'm not mistaken, and they split those 4 games. So
yeah, I think you're right. It was the beginning of the year, right? The
first
our guy Johnny Cueto, remember Cueto?
Yeah,
gave him some really good innings, and then they just blew it for him.
Yeah.
Always remember the bad beats, eh?
Yeah,
Couldn't tell you the ones I won, but I'll remember that one. But looking at the last game here, Ross, you got the Mariners taking on the Rockies. Minus 120 is the price. Over-under is at 8. Rockies right now, last 4 games gone under the total. 9-3 in the year, sending Antonio Sensatella to the mound up against Yusei Kikuchi. And looking at the score here, Kikuchi threw me off there. 5.14 to 4.3, and the over-under at 9.44. So it does like it to go over the total. The Kogo at 72%, and Ross 8-6 to the over for the Mems, but 3-9 for the Rockies. Eventually, some of these games got to go over the total, especially for a team like Colorado, where they're hitter-friendly confines of Coors Field.
Yeah, well, they're on the road, right? So you might catch a break here on the over, possibly. Sensatella and Kikuchi, but Kikuchi once in a while could throw a good game at home. Very tough call for me. Seattle coming off a 6-1 loss yesterday. The day before, they win 7-6, and they almost blew a 7-3 lead late in the game. And Colorado just keeps winning. They're playing very consistent ball. I just waiting for the wheels to fall off with the Rockies because nobody saw this coming. Yet, they're getting out of the gate quick. And this is what we talked about before the season, right, Ron? Yep. One team that we didn't see coming that might get off to a good start and benefit from the short schedule. Yeah,
no, you're right. Now, Ross, I'm going to give my free play right now. I'm going to go with the San Diego Padres against the Arizona Diamondbacks, the team that you had yesterday. Now, looking at some of the information here on this game, I'm a law of average guy, but coming off a loss like San Diego has, they're 3-1 straight up in their next game. And for the Arizona Diamondbacks this year, coming off a win when they're on the road, 0-2. I know it's just early. Not a lot of occurrences, but San Diego at home, it's going to be tough for for Arizona. They're 7-3 as a 100 to -120. Home favorite coming off a 1-run loss the last 5 years. Give me San Diego Padres tonight, -120. Low price, and it fits right into what we've been saying all year, right? That low price favorite. Let's hope we can extend it one more day here. Take
pretty
the Padres.
close to 63%. These -106 to -150 favorites so far. And speaking of that parameter, the Cincinnati Reds go to Milwaukee tonight, and right now the Reds are a -115 road favorite, right in that parameter again. You got a Reds team that's 0-3 in their last 3. Ron got shut out in their last 2 games, but keep in mind those last 3 games were against a Cleveland team that just doesn't give up any runs. Milwaukee coming off back-to-back wins, you would think it would be an optimum spot for them, coming off 2 road wins against a team coming off 3 losses in a row. However, they're going to have to face Trevor Bauer, and this year Bauer has been absolutely phenomenal with the 0.68 ERA and 0.53 WHIP, and nearly a 7-to-1 strikeout-to-walk ratio in his 2 starts. And the Cincinnati bullpen might get saved. They've been their detriment all season long, but Bauer goes deep into games. And also, Ron, Cincinnati, since last year, after allowing 8 runs or more in their previous game, is 17-7. I'm going to take a chance here with the Cincinnati Reds as a -115 road favorite at Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's a solid play right there, Ross. Yeah, no, you can't argue with that. Cincinnati, and the price is right? It's right in that ballpark we've been talking about too. So there you have it, folks. 2 free plays today, Cincinnati and San Diego. Hopefully that cashes you a nice winning ticket today. Before we go, Ross, this is the last show before the weekend. We'll be back here on Monday with another forecast, either NBA, MLB, but I think we might be doing MLB because we're getting a little late in the season. Not late, but in the tournament run here in NBA. But if people do want to get our NBA selections, I know I'll be giving out some free plays on our YouTube channel, and MLB, NHL, same thing. If you want my NHL and NBA forecast, they're up on my YouTube channel. And folks, if you want to get hold of Ross Benjamin, Ross, what about yourself? Where can they get a hold of you if you want NBA?
Well, today I'm going to have MLB, NHL, and NBA picks up today at my website, which is rbwins.com, or at atsstats.com, where you can get those picks at a 20% cheaper rate, because that's what Ron Raymond is giving them away as. Or I should say, giving a coupon out. Well, he's very generous, so I would suggest going to atsstats.com to get those same plays. And just a reminder, folks, you can get each one of our shows here by going to either of our YouTube channels, which is OSGA or the Raymond Report. And if you haven't subscribed already, I would highly encourage you do so. It costs you absolutely nothing. There's no strings attached. You'll be notified immediately upon us releasing any of our sports betting videos on either channel, including this show. And give us a like at the end of this video and in future videos too, folks. Just a small token of your appreciation makes us happy. And, I don't think you're going to have a problem with making either one of us happy. So give us a like.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, Ross. Again, people, if you want to learn the Raymond Report system, if you go to our website, you'll see in the top menu, there's tutorials, and there's about 10 tutorials on all the features that we have here. If you want to kill the weekend, that's probably one way of doing it, because it's a pretty big site and a lot of information that we've been doing it since 2005 online. So we've gathered a lot of information. So Ross, great show today. Hopefully we can catch some winners for our audience. And again, today was our last show for Friday. We'll be back here on Monday. As always, shop for value, play those percentages. We'll see you back shortly with another Raymond Report.